Hello, my name is Aubrey. Today I've got a book haul. Not only do I have a book haul, I have the book haul to end all book hauls. The last book haul I did was all the way back in May of last year, and even that video I probably filmed way earlier than when it actually went up. I have a lot of books. I have a lot of books here. I am now subscribed to 3 different book box subscriptions. I'm subscribed to Illumicrate, I'm subscribed to the adult Fairyloot box, and I'm also subscribed to the Broken Binding. So these are all of those special edition books. I have put them all into their own haul. I did another haul of all the other books that I bought, and these are just the special editions. There are so many. It's a stupid amount of books. I've organized this into the Illumicrate and Fairyloot monthly subscription. I'm going to go month by month. Then I'm going to go into the one-off books that I've bought separately, and then I'm going to go into the full series that I have from Illumicrate, Fairyloot, and the Broken Binding. So that's the video. I hope you enjoy. These are all really pretty, and I've always wanted to do like a special edition video like this. So this is really fun and exciting, but there's a lot, so let's just get started. Okay, so the April book for Illumicrate was Portrait of a Thief by Grace D. Lee. The back says, "Will could hear the sirens. They sounded like a promise." And I'm pretty sure this is about an art thief. So the inside flap says, "History is told by the conquerors. Across the Western world, museums display the spoils of war, of conquest, of colonialism. Priceless pieces of art looted from other countries, kept even now. Will Chen plans to steal them back." This just sounds like a really fun heist novel, and I haven't heard too much about this. I am mostly a fantasy reader, so I'm more plugged into like new and upcoming fantasy books, but I am excited to try this out because I love a good heist. Then the April book for Fairyloot was The City of Dusk by Tara Sim. The back of this says, "For each realm there is a god, and for each god there is an heir. The 4 realms, life, death, light, and darkness, all converge on the City of Dusk, ruled by the 4 noble houses of Nexus." And then the bottom says, "The City of Dusk is the first in a sweeping epic fantasy trilogy set in a gorgeous world of dark magic, vengeful gods, and rebellious chosen ones." I love stories about gods, so this one sounds really promising. Next, the March book for Illumicrate was Book of Night by Holly Black. This was a very hyped, popular release when it came out that unfortunately I think let a lot of people down. I am curious to know how many books are going to be in this series. Like, is it a duology, a trilogy, a really long series? I don't know. This is Holly Black's first foray into adult books, so it's still like, I don't know. I still find it exciting, but it is kind of a bummer that I think most people didn't like this. Even your shadow can be stolen. Dark, strange, thick with mystery and twists. A story so believable in its magic, you'll be keeping one eye on your shadow. That was a blurb from Miss Lee Bardugo. And the inside flap says, "Charlie Hall has never found a lock she couldn't pick, a book she couldn't steal, or a bad decision she wouldn't make." So yeah, I'm really curious about this book, and I hope that the next book, whenever it comes out, gets better reviews, because I want Holly Black to succeed. Okay, and then the May book for Fairyloot was Book of Night by Holly Black. This is the first of 2 books that got repeated between the subscriptions. I don't mind, because it's kind of fun to, I don't know, compare them, see which one I like better. I think they're both really nice. Personally, just for my own aesthetic, I prefer the Fairyloot one. But yeah, this one came with like different end papers, and the embossing on the front is different as well. Then for June, from Illumicrate, we got We All Fall Down by Rose Sazabo, and this is like a really stunning edition, but the book itself gets like abysmal reviews, so there must be something really wrong with it. Hold on, I'm gonna check Goodreads really quick. Yeah, this has got a 2.49 on Goodreads. That's an awful rating. I haven't seen a book that low in a really long time, so there must be something wrong with it. Like, there must be something, like, truly offensive about this book, because people don't usually hate on books unless there's just something wrong with it, you know? Which is unfortunate, because this is one of the prettiest books we got all year. So, in River City, where magic used to thrive and is now fading, the witches who once ruled alongside their powerful king have become all but obsolete. The crumbling government is now controlled primarily by the new university and teaching hospital, which has grown to take over half the city. Moving between decaying old city and ruthless new city, 4 young queer people struggle with the daily hazards of life, not realizing that they have been selected to play in an age-old drama that revives the flow of magic through their world. When a mysterious death rocks their fragile peace, the 4 are brought into each other's orbits as they uncover a deeper magical conspiracy. So yeah, I don't know, it sounds good in theory, the reviews are so bad, I'm kind of afraid to touch it. Alright, and then the June book for Fairyloot was Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. And I don't know, just the cover and vibe of this book makes it look so fun. Hidden among us is a secret coven of witches. Known as Her Majesty's Royal Coven, they protect crown and country from magical forces and other worldly evil. But their greatest enemy will come from within. There are whisperings of prophecy that will bring the coven to its knees, and 4 best friends are about to be caught in the center. Will they be able to stop the prophecy before it's too late, or will the differences that have seen them grow apart since childhood be too great to overcome? Life as a modern witch was never simple, but now it's about to get apocalyptic. I don't know, this book just sounds awesome. The fact that it's like this obnoxious hot pink under this obnoxious yellow is just really fun and unique, and it sounds like it would be a good witchy time. Alright, the July book for Illumicrate was The Drowned Woods by Emily Lloyd Jones. And this is a really gorgeous book. I don't know if Illumicrate like redid this cover or if this is the original cover, but it's stunning all on its own. Oceans will rise, a kingdom will fall. Part heist novel, part dark fairy tale, they've got me with both of those, and rich with Welsh legends, The Drowned Woods is an ethereal fantasy perfect for fans of Kristen Kishore and Maria V. Snyder. Okay, so it sounds like we're following a character, Mare, who has unique water magic. She's a water diviner, and she's been on the run from this prince who forced her to kill people with her magic, and now she's being propositioned by the king's spy master to take down the prince that abused them both. I don't know what the reviews for this have been like, but it sounds amazing. Alright, the July book for Fairyloot was The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon. And this is another just really fun color scheme from Fairyloot. And I think this is a fantasy, like a contemporary fantasy romance. A uniquely charming mixture of whimsy and the macabre that completely won me over. If you ever wished for an adult romance that felt like Howl's Moving Castle, this is that book. That's from Helen Hoang, author of The Kiss Quotient. The House in the Cerulean Sea meets You've Got Mail in this quirky, refreshing fantasy with a rom-com worthy twist. Oh, this just sounds really cute. I think it sounds like the 2 main protagonists don't like each other, but they somehow end up being like anonymous pen pals, and then I guess they fall in love through their correspondence and eventually find out that they are each other, and that's a problem. I don't know, this sounds so cute, and I've really been wanting like fantasy, like a contemporary fantasy romance. I've really been in the mood for something like this, so I might pick this up soon. And then for August, from Illumicrate, we got Babel by R.F. Kuang. This is quite an edition. It comes with a slipcover and everything. It's really cool. I'm sure you've heard about Babel. It's gotten just a ton of hype this year. I am hesitantly optimistic about this book. I haven't tried it yet. I just wasn't a fan of the Poppy War trilogy. I didn't like where the series went overall, and I didn't enjoy the way that R.F. Kuang wrote her characters. I found them to be very inconsistent, but I will give this a try because the hype is real. And I just, like, there were aspects of the Poppy War trilogy that I liked enough that I would give the author another chance, but if I don't like this, then I think R.F. Kuang and I are just not meant to be. But yeah, so this is dark academia with like a sprinkle of fantasy. There isn't even a blurb or anything for me to read you from this edition, but I have another one, so let's see if there's anything on that one. This was Illumicrate's, and then I got another one from Fairyloot. This is the very shiny Fairyloot edition. Really, really pretty. Okay, yeah, so an act of translation is always an act of betrayal. Oxford, 1836. The city of dreaming spires. It is the center of all knowledge and progress in the world, and at its heart is Babel, Oxford University's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, the tower from which all the power of the empire flows. Orphaned in Canton and brought to England by a mysterious guardian, Robin Swift thought Babel a paradise until it became a prison. But can a student stand against an empire? So I think from what I've heard, our main character attends this school, and his magic and or research is being used for nefarious purposes and conflict. That's kind of the gist of what I know. Again, this has had glowing reviews. I will give it a chance eventually, maybe this fall. Okay, so then for September, we got The Book Eaters by Sun Yi Dean. This was an Illumicrate book. And this book sounds so weird. So this is literally about book eaters, children who can eat books, like stories. And we're following a mother who I think has like a book eater child and then also a mind eater child. And a mind eater is a perversion of her own kind who consumes not stories, but the minds and souls of humans. So I think she has to go on the run to protect her son. It just sounds completely bizarre. So this is a story of escape, a mother's savage devotion, and a queer love that will electrify readers looking for something beguiling, thrilling, strange, and new. So yeah, I'm very, very intrigued about this book, and this is a super stunning edition. Okay, and then the September book for Fairyloot was Spells for Forgetting by Adrian Young. Lush with secrets, magic, and a past that won't stay where it belongs, this novel is quite fittingly spellbinding. That's a quote from Jodi Picoult on the back. So this one also sounds kind of bizarre and a little dreamy. So we're following our main character, Emery Blackwood, who is in love with her high school sweetheart, August Salt. However, August Salt gets accused of murdering her best friend, Lily. And because of this, now she's doing what her teenage self swore she never would, living a quiet existence among this tight-knit community steeped in folklore and tradition, ruled by the seasons and ancient superstitions. But then, August comes back, and as the island begins to show signs of strange happenings, the emergence of deep betrayals and hidden promises threatens to reveal the truth behind Lily's death once and for all. So yeah, this just sounds kind of dreamy and mysterious, and I can't wait to read it. And then the Illumicrate October book was The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. A paranormal thriller laced with twists and revelations that will stop your heart. That's a quote by Aidan Thomas, who wrote The Cemetery Boys, which was a book I did really enjoy. Delaney always talked to the dark, but now the dark talks back. Delaney Mayers Petrov is tired of being seen as fragile just because she's deaf. So when she's accepted into a prestigious program at Godboll University that trains students to slip between parallel worlds, she's excited for the chance to prove herself. But her semester gets off to a rocky start when she has an awkward encounter with a pretentious upperclassman whom she has every intention of keeping her distance from. Colton Prince has been ordered to keep far away from the new girl and the voices that call to her from the shadows, but the pull of her proves impossible to ignore, and he can't help but be fascinated by her unusual talents. After a fellow student turns up dead, Delaney and Colton are forced to form a tenuous alliance, plummeting down a rabbit hole of deeply buried university secrets. They soon find themselves up against something old and nameless, an enemy that threatens to tear them and their forbidden partnership apart. So this one sounds like it's got dark academia vibes. I personally really love deaf representation in media. I went to a school that had a deaf program, so we had a handful of deaf students who went to my high school, and I actually took 2 semesters of ASL. So I don't know, it's just something that's like close to my heart and it makes me really excited. So yeah. And then the October book for Fairyloot was Poster Girl by Veronica Roth. And this is a dystopian, a fallen regime, a missing child, a chance at freedom. I know this has something to do with like themes of surveillance. There's something about like an ocular implant called the Insight that tracks every word and every action, rewarding or punishing by a rigid moral code. With razor-sharp prose, Poster Girl is a haunting dystopian mystery that explores the expanding role of surveillance on society in an inescapable reality that we welcome all too easily. So yeah, historically, dystopian has been my favorite genre. I don't know if it's the older I get, or if it's just the current state of the world we live in. I find reading dystopian to be more and more difficult, so I haven't picked one up in a really long time, so maybe this will be my next one. Okay, so we're on to November for Illumicrate. This one took a very long time to get here. I got this very recently, actually, and it is The Luminaries by Susan Dennard, and I have been really excited about this book. And Susan Dennard wrote the Truth Witch series, which actually I have right here. And I have been just very patiently waiting for that series to be finished so that I can read it. But this, I think, is a standalone. The forest is dangerous for a luminary untrained. Hemlock Falls isn't like other towns. You won't find it on a map, your phone won't work here, and the forest outside town might just kill you. Winnie Wednesday wants nothing more than to join the Luminaries, an ancient order that protects Winnie's town and the rest of humanity from the monsters and nightmares that rise in the forest of Hemlock Falls every night. Ever since her father was exposed as a witch and a traitor, Winnie and her family have been shunned, but on her 16th birthday, she can take the deadly luminary hunter trials and prove herself true and loyal and restore her family's good name. Or die trying. But in order to survive, Winnie must enlist the help of the one person who can train her, Jay Friday, resident bad boy and Winnie's ex-best friend. While Jay might be the most promising new hunter in Hemlock Falls, he also seems to know more about the nightmares of the forest than he should. Together, he and Winnie will discover a danger lurking in the forest no one in Hemlock Falls is prepared for. Not all monsters can be slain, and not all nightmares are confined to the dark. This just sounds really good. I love like dark forest settings, and just, I don't know, just the whole vibe of this has me really excited. And then for, what month are we on? November? Yeah, from Fairyloot, we got A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibbons, and I have read this one. I read it the year prior and I loved it. So I was so excited when this came in the book box because it was originally self-published and then it got picked up and got like a hardcover printing. So it's really exciting to have this like special edition of it because I loved this. So this is a novella. We're following Dracula's wife, bride, Constanta. She was turned into a vampire from the brink of death in medieval times, and she and Dracula have made this life together, and it's about this dark, manipulative, toxic relationship that she has with Dracula. It's just really good. It's very sexy and dark and disturbing, and it's just really good. It's a really good read. So if you're looking for something especially in the fall, like October vampire vibes, I highly recommend this book. Okay, and then something weird happened that I have only just now discovered in organizing all these books and arranging them by month. I got sent the young adult November book from Fairyloot, which I'm guessing was a mistake because I'm not subscribed to the young adult Fairyloot box, and I also didn't receive my December box, so I'm wondering if I got sent this one instead. So I'll need to contact them about that. But for November, for the young adult box, there was The Ones We Burn by Rebecca Mix. This is truly a stunning book. The end papers alone are ridiculous, but there's the reversible dust jacket that, I don't know, I'm not one to usually reverse my dust jackets, but this one, I would, because it's so pretty. So we're following our main character, Ranka, who is a witch, and she just wants to be left alone. She wants to live out her life with the coven that raised her. However, she is named Bloodwyn, the next treaty bride to the human kingdom of Isidal. So her coven sends her with one directive: kill the prince. Except when she gets there, she discovers that the prince is actually gentle and kind. He doesn't want to be king. And it turns out that his sister, the wickedly smart, infuriatingly beautiful Princess Aramis, seems to be the real threat. But when witches start turning up dead by a magical plague, Aramis makes Ranka an offer. Help her develop a cure, and in return she'll teach Ranka to contain her deadly magic. As the coup draws closer and the plague spreads, Ranka is forced to question everything she thought she knew about her power, her past, and who she's meant to fight for. So this sounds sapphic. I'm not sure if it is, but I don't know, it's giving me that vibe. So yeah, I don't know if this is a standalone or the first in a series. It kind of sounds like a standalone, but I've been burned before by books that I thought were standalones and turned out to be the first book in a series. Okay, so I still have not received my December box for Illumicrate. They've been keeping us updated with various chain supply issues and other stuff, so the December box got delayed, but I do have the January box that just came in, and we got God Killer by Hannah Canner, and I was really excited to get this book. I was really close to buying the Broken Binding edition of this book because that one was really, really stunning, but the shipping to buy just like one-off book didn't feel worth it to me, and so I'm really glad that we got this in the Illumicrate box. You are not welcome here, God Killer. Kissen's family were killed by zealots of a fire god. Now she makes a living killing gods and enjoys it. That is until she finds a god she cannot kill. Skady, a god of white lies, has somehow bound himself to a young noble, and they are both on the run from unknown assassins. Joined by a disillusioned knight on a secret quest, they must travel to the ruined city of Blenredin, where the last of the wild gods reside, to each beg a favor. Pursued by demons in the midst of civil war, they will all face a reckoning. Something is rotting at the heart of the kingdom, and only they can be the ones to stop it. So yeah, again, this is another one that I just am like really digging the vibe. Just like the cover, the foresty, weird fantasy feel of it. The fact that it's really short, I like a nice short fantasy. Again, I don't know if this is a standalone or the first in a series, but it sounds super promising and I can't wait to read it. And then the January book for Fairyloot is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. And I had no idea this was coming out. This is the author of The Gilded Wolves, which I will show off in just a moment. But yeah, okay, so inside every story is a secret. Inside every marriage is a lie. Combining the lush, haunting atmosphere of Mexican Gothic with the dreamy enchantment of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride is a spellbinding and darkly romantic page-turner about love and lies, secrets and betrayal, and the stories we tell ourselves to survive. We're following a man who becomes engaged to the heiress of a fortune named Indigo Maxwell Castaneda. And when he learns that his bride's estranged aunt is dying, the couple is forced to return to her childhood home, the House of Dreams. The heiress makes him promise that he will never pry into her past. However, within the crumbling manor's extravagant rooms and musty halls, there lurks the shadow of another girl, Azure, Indigo's dearest childhood friend who disappeared without a trace. As the house slowly reveals his wife's secrets, the bridegroom will be forced to choose between reality and fantasy, even if doing so threatens to destroy their marriage or their lives. This is another just like nice short book. Love to see it. Yeah, this sounds so intriguing. Okay, so that's it for the Illumicrate and Fairyloot subscription books. And now I'm on to the one-off special edition books. So most of these are sequels to books that we already received in like previous monthly subscription boxes. So the first book I have is A Fire Endless by Rebecca Ross. This is the second book to A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. This was in the Illumicrate box for February, and then they offered this one as a one-off follow-up so you could have matching editions, which is super nice. So I have read A River Enchanted and I really, really enjoyed it. It's a very atmospheric story about this bard who gets called back to his home isle because all of these young girls are going missing. and his old rival, who is now like the leader of his clan, needs his help. They have to team up to figure out what's going wrong on this isle, and there's all of these like mysterious spirits, some of which are helpful, some of which are more trickstery, and some of which are just outright dangerous. They have to use the bard's magic to talk to these spirits, and there's this romance going on between the bard and his old rival, and it's just good. I really, really loved it. The writing is lush and gorgeous, and again, it just was very atmospheric, so I have been eagerly anticipating the second book. So yeah, really happy to have this. Then I have Ocean's Echo. This is by Everina Maxwell. This is another Illumicrate edition, and it is a follow-up to Winter's Orbit, which was in a previous Illumicrate box. This might have been my first Illumicrate book. I can't remember, but it was at the very least one of the very first Illumicrate books I ever got. I read this and I really, really enjoyed it. This follow-up is a standalone set in the same world. There they are side by side, both have the sprayed edges. A flirtatious socialite, a dutiful soldier, an unwilling bond becomes an unexpected romance. When Tennel, a rich socialite, inveterate flirt, and walking disaster, is caught using his telepathic powers for illegal activities, the military decides to bind his mind to someone whose coercive powers are strong enough to control him. Enter Lieutenant Surratt, the child of a disgraced general. Out of a desperate need to restore a pension to his other parent, Lieutenant Surratt agrees to be bound to Tennel and keep him conscripted in the army, a task that seems impossible even for someone with Surratt's ability to control minds. Tennel just wants to escape, but Surratt isn't all what he seems, and their bond may just be the key to their freedom. Ocean's Echo is a romantic space adventure set in the same world as Everina Maxwell's hit debut, Winter's Orbit. So yeah, this just sounds like another fun romance in space, which like I said, I really enjoyed the first one, and I hope to really enjoy this one as well. Next, I have a Restless Truth by Freya Marsky, and this is the follow-up to... where did I put that book? A Marvelous Light. I haven't read this one yet. I listened to the audiobook for a little while and I put it down just because I wasn't in the mood for this type of book at that time, but I know that it's one that I will want to pick up eventually. It's this sort of Regency era magical mystery book. I believe this one featured a male-male romance, and I'm gonna guess that this one is sapphic. A shocking murder, a ship-bound mystery, a scandalous magician. Maud Blythe has always longed for adventure. She'd hoped for plenty of it when she agreed to help her beloved older brother unravel a magical conspiracy. She even volunteered to serve as an old lady's companion on an ocean liner. But Maud didn't expect the old lady to turn up dead on the very first day of the voyage. Now she has to deal with a dead body, a disrespectful parrot, and the lovely, dangerously outrageous Violet Debenham. Violet is everything Maud has been trained to distrust, yet can't help but desire. A magician, an actress, and a magnet for scandal. Surrounded by open sea and a ship full of suspects, Maud and Violet must somehow drop the masks they've learned to wear. Only then might they work together to locate a magical object worth killing for and unmask a murderer, all without becoming dead in the water themselves. So yeah, these just sound like really fun murder mysteries with like a magical twist. Next, I have the Oleander Sword by Tasha Suri. This was another Illumicrate book. We got The Jasmine Throne in another box, I think in 2020. I forget when this book came out. But yeah, as someone who likes to wait until a full series is finished before reading, I haven't read these yet. I think this is supposed to be a trilogy, but you know, I wanted to pick up the second book so that I had matching editions. They both have these pretty stenciled edging, and I'm also not sure if these got hardcover releases. I don't remember. But yeah, so this is like a sapphic fantasy book. One of the sapphic trifecta, right? One is a vengeful princess seeking to depose her brother from his throne. The other is a priestess searching for her family. Together they will change the fate of an empire. So yeah, I've just heard great things about Tasha Suri. I really want to read her other duology, Empire of Sand and Realm of Ash. I've heard super good things about those, so I'll probably get to those before I get to this trilogy. I don't know when when this third book is gonna come out, so yeah. Then I have another book that I just had no idea existed / was coming. It's Sea Sparrow by Kristen Kishore. I bought the Graceling set either last year or the year before. These are super stunning. I haven't gotten to them yet, but I thought that Winterkeep, which was like the newest book in the series / set in the same world was just kind of a one-off. So when this book got announced, I was just really surprised because I didn't know there were going to be more in this series. So I don't know, is this like a second trilogy or just like a new standalone? I have no idea. I guess I'll need to read them to find out. But yeah, so this is Sea Sparrow. And from what I understand about the world, you can be blessed with certain graces, like a super talented ability. And it can range from anything. You can be really good at cooking. You can be excellent at, I don't know, just about anything. So this is from the first book. In a world where people born with an exceptional skill, known as a grace, are both feared and exploited, Katsa carries the burden of a skill even she despises, the grace of killing. So in this first book, I think there's like a mysterious kidnapping and our main character is trying to escape being a killer, and I don't know where the rest of the books go from there. I know that they're each kind of standalone stories following different characters, at least for the first trilogy, but then I think Winterkeep and Sea Sparrow are following characters that we've seen in the original trilogy. So yeah, these UK covers are gorgeous, and I really want to get into this series like really soon. I've been meaning to, and the books just keep getting bigger and bigger. Then next I have The Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake. This is the second book in the Atlas series. I don't know what it's called. So this is a Fairyloot edition. We got the original, the Atlas 6 in an adult box, I want to say early last year, I think, because I've only been subscribed to the Fairyloot box for about a year. So they came out with the matching edition. They look really nice. And yeah, dark academia with some fantasy elements. So this is the back of the Atlas 6. 6 extraordinary magicians, 5 chances to win, 1 secret society. He knew even before he started talking that they would all accept the offer. It was a formality, really. Nobody turned down the Alexandrian Society. Even those pretending disinterest would be unable to resist. They would fight, he knew, tooth and nail to survive the next year of their lives. And if they were as steadfast and talented as the society presumed them to be, most of them would. Most of them. So yeah, obviously these books have just been all over the internet, gotten lots and lots of praise. Anytime a series comes along like this that's really popular and has a lot of hype, I feel very tempted to jump in, even though I know I don't like waiting for books as they come out. Like, I hate that feeling of finishing a book and then not having the next one, having to wait sometimes years for the next book. But I don't know, series like this really tempt me, so we'll see. Okay, and then the last book in this section of one-offs is The Goblin Emperor by Catherine Addison, and this technically was part of my Broken Binding subscription. They usually, at least so far, they have done trilogies. So last year they did, 3 trilogies? But I think we got that first book in March. And so we got one trilogy from March to May, and then we got another trilogy from June to August, and so on. And so it didn't quite like even out. So for December, they did just a standalone book, and they decided to do The Goblin Emperor. And while I already have this book, this edition is ridiculously pretty, so I'm very happy to have it. This is a really unique fantasy. Our main character is a half goblin, which I feel like you just don't really see that too often. And he's the son of an emperor who has lived his entire life in exile, distant from the imperial court. However, when his father and 3 sons in line for the throne are killed in an accident, quotes, this is in quotes, he has no choice but to take his place as the only surviving rightful heir. Surrounded by sycophants and overwhelmed by the burdens of his new life, he can trust nobody. Amid the swirl of plots to depose him, offers of arranged marriages, and the specter of the unknown conspirators, he must quickly adjust to life as the Goblin Emperor. So yeah, I've heard fantastic things about this book. It seems really unique, and I love really unique fantasy. The setting seems a little steampunky. I'm not too sure about that, but that's kind of the vibe I get. So yeah, really happy to have this. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to all the complete series. I think these are all trilogies and 1 duology. So I'm going to start with my Broken Binding books first. We've got the First Law Trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. I may have already hauled this one, but I thought I would re-haul it since I have the other 2. So we have The Blade Itself, Before They Are Hanged, and Last Argument of Kings. So this is like a well-loved grim dark fantasy. Logan Ninefingers, infamous barbarian, has finally run out of luck. Caught in one feud too many, he's on the verge of becoming a dead barbarian, leaving nothing behind but bad songs and dead friends. Nobleman, dashing officer, and paragon of selfishness, Captain Jezzel Dan Luther has nothing more dangerous in mind than fleecing his friends at cards and dreaming of glory in the fencing circle. But war is brewing, and on the battlefields of the north, they fight by altogether bloodier rules. Inquisitor Glocta, cripple turned torturer, would like nothing more than to see Jezzel come home in a box. But then Glocta hates everyone. Cutting tension out of the union, one confession at a time, leaves little room for friendship. His latest trail of corpses may lead him right to the corrupted heart of government, if he can stay alive long enough to follow it. Murderous conspiracies rise to the surface, old scores are ready to be settled, and the line between hero and villain is sharp enough to draw blood. Unpredictable, compelling, wickedly funny, and packed with unforgettable characters, The Blade itself is noir fantasy with a real cutting edge. So yeah, I've just heard fantastic things about Joe Abercrombie. I need to read this trilogy ASAP. I keep hoping that the audiobooks will come to Scribd, but I may just need to break down and get them through Audible or something else, because I hear that the audiobooks for these are really fantastic. And then the second trilogy I believe we got is this, I had to look up what this trilogy is called. It's the Lacanius Trilogy. So we got The Shadow of What Was Lost, An Echo of Things to Come, and The Light of All That Falls. And they all have these solid sprayed edges. So I've heard really fantastic things about this trilogy, and I think the reason that the Broken Binding decided to do these books is because the hardcovers for these have become very difficult to find. These are the original covers with sprayed edges and some foiling under the dust jacket. These are very pretty naked hardcovers. As destiny calls, a journey begins. It has been 20 years since the godlike augurs were overthrown and killed. Now, those who once served them, the gifted, are spared only because they have accepted the rebellion's 4 tenets, vastly limiting their own powers. As a gifted, Davian suffers the consequences of a war lost before he was even born. He and others like him are despised, but when Davian discovers he wields the forbidden power of the augurs, he sets into motion a chain of events that will change everything. To the west, a young man whose fate is intertwined with Davian's wakes up in the forest covered in blood and with no memory of who he is. And in the far north, an ancient enemy long thought defeated begins to stir. So yeah, this is clearly like a very epic series. These books are quite chunky. I will probably look into the audiobooks for these because I find that audiobooks, especially for books that are so long, can help me get through them a lot faster. And then the next trilogy we got, and I guess the final trilogy of the year for the subscription, was a very exciting one, and it's the Ninth Reign trilogy by Jen Williams. And I first heard about this series from Elliot Brooks. She talked about this over on her channel, and I was very intrigued to read these. However, when I went to try to purchase them, I think they were out of stock and I couldn't order them. And so when the Broken Binding announced these, I jumped for joy. I was really, really excited. Not only to have hardcovers, because I don't think these got hardcover releases, but to have special editions. The foiling on the naked cover is really pretty, and I just think overall these are super stunning. So we got Ninth Reign, The Bitter Twins, and The Poison Song. The city of Aboria once glittered with gold. Now its streets are stalked by wolves. Tormalin the Oathless has no taste for waiting to die, while the realm of his ancestors falls to pieces. Talk about a guilt trip. When eccentric explorer Lady Vincenza offers him employment, he sees a way out. Even when they are joined by a fugitive witch with a tendency to set things on fire, the prospect of facing down monsters and retrieving artifacts is preferable to the abomination left behind. But not everyone is willing to let the empire collapse, and the adventurers are soon drawn into a tangled conspiracy of magic and war. The Jurelia are coming, and the Ninth Reign must fall. So yeah, so excited to read these. So the next series I have is also from the Broken Binding. However, it wasn't part of the subscription, it was just a trilogy that you could buy, and I bought them, and it's the Children of Time trilogy by Adrian Tchaikovsky. These are sci-fi books about spiders in space. We have Children of Time, Children of Ruin, and Children of Memory. And these are just ridiculously pretty. Really, really nice editions. I have just heard like glowing reviews about the Children of Time, including my fiance who read, I think, this whole trilogy and really loved it. So when I saw these go on sale, I just decided to splurge and get them. The last remnants of the human race left a dying Earth, desperate to find a new home among the stars. Following in the footsteps of their ancestors, they discover the greatest treasure of the past age, a world terraformed and prepared for human life. But all is not right with this new Eden. In the long years since the planet was abandoned, the work of its architects has borne disastrous fruit. The planet is not waiting for them, pristine and unoccupied. New masters have turned it from a refuge into mankind's worst nightmare. Now 2 civilizations are on the collision course, both testing the boundaries of what they will do to survive. As the fate of humanity hangs in the balance, who are the true heirs of this new Earth? But yeah, like I said, I've just heard such fantastic things. It sounds like a series that will ask some very important questions, make you ponder certain moralities, which I love when books have like really deep, thought-provoking themes like this. Next, I have the We Hunt the Flame duology. These were Illumicrate exclusives, We Hunt the Flame and We Free the Stars. I did already own both of these books, but these special editions were just too pretty to pass up. It's like the artwork, the foiling, the end papers, just, I don't know, everything about these is so stunning. People lived because she killed. People died because he lived. Zephyra is the hunter. Forced to disguise herself as a man, she risks everything to provide for her people. Nasir is the Prince of Death, a feared assassin who is forever bound to the command of his father, the Sultan. Both are legends in their kingdom, but neither wants to be. And when Zephyra embarks on a dangerous quest to return magic to their suffering land, Nasir is sent on a similar mission, but as their journey unfolds, an ancient evil begins to stir, and the prize they seek may pose a threat greater than either can imagine. So yeah, love a good YA duology. I can't wait to read these. I hope I fall in love with them. Okay, we are nearing the end here, folks. Next, I have Gideon the Ninth and subsequent books. I'm not sure what the series is called. The Locked Tomb series, which I believe is going to be a quartet. But yeah, so we have Gideon the Ninth, Harrow the Ninth, and Nona the Ninth. And these are just ridiculously cool. So I feel like the tagline everybody says about these books is that it's about lesbian necromancers in space. Tamsin Muir's Gideon the Ninth unveils a solar system of swordplay, cutthroat politics, and lesbian necromancers. Her characters leap off the page as skillfully animated as arcane revenants. The result is a heart-pounding epic science fantasy. The back of this says, and I just have to read it, the Emperor needs necromancers. The Ninth necromancer needs a swordswoman. Gideon has a sword, some dirty magazines, and no more time for undead nonsense. So yeah, I've heard both excellent and not so excellent things about these books. I think people either like love these or hate these. I've heard they can be a bit confusing. We'll see. I'm not gonna read them until the last book is out, but they just look so cool and fun. And then the very last books of today's book haul are the Gilded Wolves trilogy by Roshani Chokshi. We have the Gilded Wolves, the Silvered Serpents, and the Bronze Beasts. So these books were from Fairyloot. I have almost bought this trilogy like so many times. I have added it to my Amazon cart and then decided not to get them like a dozen times. And I've discovered through being subscribed to all these boxes that if you just wait long enough, somebody will make a pretty set of whatever it is you want to read. Yeah, I was very, very excited when Fairyloot announced these. This is like a YA heist fantasy novel. Paris, 1889. The city is on the cusp of industry and power, and the exposition universelle has breathed new life into the streets and dredged up ancient secrets. Here, no one keeps tabs on dark truths better than treasure hunter and wealthy hotelier Severin Montanet Alry. When the Order of Babel coerces him to hunt down an ancient artifact, Severin is offered a treasure he never imagined, his true inheritance. Together with a band of unlikely experts, Severin sets off to explore the dark, glittering heart of Paris. What they find might change the course of history, but only if they can stay alive. So yes, I've heard a lot of people compare this to Six of Crows, just I think in the heist aspect and maybe in the like group slash found family aspect. But yeah, I am really looking forward to these, and I have been for a while. So yeah. Okay, so that's it. Oh my god. That's all the books I have. Whew. This has been a very long filming session. If you watched until the end, thank you so, so much. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So if you did, please give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more from me. I hope to see you next time. Bye!